have been noting we've already started early voting. How many of you are registered to vote? How many of you have already voted? Well, God bless you for registering, and God bless you for voting. It used to be in our country that voting was treated as a revered right to be taken seriously. Thousands of our countrymen and women have given their lives so that we might be free men and free women. With pride and patriotism, our ancestors took the time to cast their votes for their chosen candidates in local, state, national elections. We still do today. But we as a nation have been bombarded by apathy, complacency, and laziness in regards to the electoral process, and too many people have decided not to participate. In Florida, in the 2008 general election, we had roughly, and I rounded up to the nearest thousand, 11,248,000 registered voters. Yet only 8.5 million voted. In the 2010 midterm elections, Florida had 11,217,000 registered voters, and only 5.5 million voted. And based on the 2000 census, Florida has roughly 14,796,000 eligible voters. 5.5 million in the 2010 midterms, out of a potential 14,796,000. How sad is that? Why don't they all vote? I understand that some are unhappy with both sides of the aisle. Their guy didn't get in office. Or they believe the conspiracy theorists and both sides are just the same. You're all the same. I hear it from you callers every day. And then there's those of you out there who say, well, you know, Ken, it's probably good that some of these people don't vote. Because some of them just don't have a clue who the candidates are, what the issues are, or what's the right way to vote. Right way to vote is to vote your conscience. The right way to vote, is to participate. Because the apathy, the laziness, the resignation, the desire to believe that your vote doesn't count, that's what they want. They want a dumbed-down electorate. They want people that are going to kowtow to them and just go in lockstep, or just refuse to participate at all, yet stand on the sidelines and complain every day. Keep them busy, creating more tax revenue. Don't give them enough time to have a life with their family and educate themselves and their family about what the issues of the day are. Now, while some on the right and some independents have chosen not to participate, that's not the way to move about a country that has known the freedom that we have known. Abraham Lincoln said it, and I just read it in a book that I think you all should read, Ameritopia, courtesy of Mark Levin. That's a plug. He said that America will never be destroyed from the outside. If we falter and lose our freedoms, it will be because we destroyed ourselves. And by choosing not to participate, by choosing not to vote your conscience, that's what you're doing. You're allowing the death of 1,000 cuts of a nation of freedom. We the people are the protectors of the Constitution of the United States of America. We the people have a responsibility to protect it against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And we all need to be aware that elections have consequences. We've all seen the last 3+ years the dire consequences of the last election. And we have local elections coming up. Educate yourself. It's not hard to do. We have state elections coming up. Educate yourself. It's not hard to do. The president hopefully is going to be changing on January 20th of next year. That is our prayer. That is our hope. But we can't do it without all of you. And we have to realize what's at stake in this election. It truly is liberty or tyranny. The ideology of our president, his czars, and many in his cabinet is that of Marxism. Whether we want to believe it or not, that's what it is. And Marxism on the whole, as I've said many times and will continue to say, is antithetical to the Constitution of the United States of America, the Bill of Rights, and free market capitalism. So the presidential election this year, more than any other, has dire consequences if we lose. And above that, we also have to worry about the House and the Senate. We must maintain the House, and we have to do everything in our power to take control of the Senate. I firmly believe in my heart that the people have awoken from whatever slumber they've been in, but they're finally deciding to wake up, get involved, get registered to vote, educate their friends, not back down to political correctness, and stand up for our rights, our liberties, and our Constitution. I believe in America as it was founded. I believe that we can continue our path of freedom and prosperity, but we must make the change now. If we lose this election, if Obama wins re-election and the Senate is not taken over by the GOP, I fear for our future. And I certainly hope and pray that all of you choose to get involved in this election and keep the fire burning and do not go quietly into that dark night. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate your time. With that, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce to you Mr. Bill Bigelow.
I'm Bill Bigelow. I'm on the board of the Punta Gorda Tea Party. I'm also the chairman of the Federal Oversight Committee that has been in business for 13 months. Paula Schaff, our president, has asked me to tell you what's going on in Washington. Our committee is 10 strong. We look at all aspects of government. We look at both parties. We look at the Senate. We look at the House. We look at the Obama administration. And most of all, we look at every department of government. Our watchdog committee was formed for one reason, and that's when we knew when the Republicans took over the House in 2010 that Obama, to get his agenda through, he would have to go through his departments via regulation, because he knew he could not get anything through the Congress with the House strongly in Republican hands. So that's what we've been doing for 13 months. So what have we found in 13 months? I am here, by the way, not to scare you. A lot of the stuff that I have is sort of scary, but I'm here to engage you. We need each and every one of you to take some action. We have to inundate every member of Congress, every senator, everybody, to make them know that we're upset with what they are doing. We have two words for what's going on in Washington in our committee: totally dysfunctional. So what have we found out over 13 months? We have found out that the financial condition of this country is a lot worse than probably 95% of the people of this country even realize. Right now, in place are authorizations to borrow over another $1 trillion, which will put us, by the time the next election comes, at $16 trillion. We have run three massive deficits of $1.3 trillion to $1.5 trillion in a row, and if there is still divided government after the next election, you can expect that will continue. And we cannot, and we have to borrow all that money. We have to borrow nearly 45 cents out of every dollar we spend right now. And the Fed and the Treasury have thrown $10 trillion at this economy in bailouts in the past 3 years. What do we have? 1.5 growth. I mean, the federal government, by taking, it is so big, it is taking the capital that the private sector needs to fund growth, to fund jobs, to survive. And every time that the politicians take $1 away, this country has less wealth. And what do they do with the money? They're all after control. Their agenda is take over the power strings. Either party wants to take over the power. Either party wants to take over the federal purse strings. Because when the federal purse strings are taken over by anybody, what they do is they reward campaign finance contributors. They put trinkets together to give all people, like even sitting here, all over the country, what they think will get them votes. And the government is run by political establishment groups. Both parties. These are people that have been in there 30 to 40 years. I came from a state, Michigan, that there's a guy, 55 years he's been in there. He's in a wheelchair. He can hardly talk, and they're going to re-vote him in to Congress in the end of this year. You watch and see. This is an embarrassment. And putting all this money in, the Fed has printed trillions of dollars of money, or created trillions of dollars of money. Since the Fed was organized in 1913, the value of the U.S. dollar has fallen by over 96%. And based on the storm clouds all over this country, with a bad financial condition we're in, a lot of credible economists that I know, and I'm an economist, believe that dollar will fall another 60% in the next 3 years. So we have major storm clouds here, and so that is the agenda of the major people in Washington, the politicians. Here is the agenda of the people. And I've gotten this by looking at several polls. Okay? The people's agenda is they want the reduction in the size of the government. They want balanced budgets. They want protection from foreign intervention. They want control of the country's borders. They want perpetuation of the free market. They want jobs for everyone that wants a job. They want rising American standards of living. And I'm telling you right now, that agenda of the people, there isn't one aspect of it that's being taken care of by what's going on in Washington now. We are the bosses under the Constitution, and unfortunately, the people we hired to represent us are trying to take over us. And this is a really bad situation. The government has, for the last 15, 20 years, this government has grown in size that is breathtaking. It has stripped the trillions of dollars out of the private sector. The private sector is under a mass attack because of the policies of government. And they are hurting it, and the reason why our economy is like it is because of government regulation, government policy, and high tax burden. Now, Paul is hauling me off the stage, and I got so much more. I want to tell you one more thing. Under the law, the President of the United States, by the end of each February, has to submit a budget to Congress for approval. Obama's been in there 3 years. He has submitted one budget. That budget was turned down 99 to nothing in a Democrat-controlled Senate. That's how bad it was. The other 2 years, he totally ignored the law, and guess what? Have you heard about any politician in Washington complaining that he's breaking the law by not submitting about it? No, no, and never, never. So, one more thing on Obamacare. If this passes, you will be slaves to the federal government. They will take over your body. Just look to New York and what Bloomberg's done.